Hi, everyone. Welcome to the My Tech Toolbelt Podcast.
So this is a new podcast, and my name is Shannon Tabaldo, and I'm one of your co-hosts, along with my friend here, Brenda Argano. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself, if that's okay. Is that okay? Can
Absolutely.
I start? Okay.
Go ahead.
So I started my career as a classroom teacher, taught 5 years. I actually taught Brenda's kids when they were in elementary school.
That's how we met.
And I now work at a university here in Los Angeles, where I work in the School of Education. So I get to teach teachers and administrators now about technology. And I am the founding director of an Innovation in Digital Education Institute at that university. And I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, Brenda.
Yes,
one in college, same age as your youngest, and one in high school. And then you just need to pray for me because I have a 4th grade. I have a 4th grader as well. So a little bit of an age gap there. But
it keeps you vested in every...
I have experience in all levels of education.
Absolutely.
From every side, right? As a parent, as an administrator, and as an educator.
Right.
So
exactly.
And this is my co-host, Brenda Argano.
Right. Hello.
Tell us about you.
So I, full disclosure, I am not a teacher. I've never been a teacher or administrator or principal or any of the other things that go with school, but I have been a parent.
Yes, that's important.
That is.
So you've had parent-teacher conferences.
I have, and trying to understand what they're doing. And so it's been an interesting row, but I've raised 2 kids now. My youngest one is in college right now, and I am working in the private sector. So I am not one to come into this podcast that knows a lot as far as EdTech goes. So I am going to be taking on the role of the mom or the parent who doesn't really know what's going on in the classroom, or I could be maybe an administrator that maybe you need to explain why you want to use this type of technology.
You ask really good questions. On the interviews that we've done, that we've pre-recorded, you ask really good questions because you don't have the background. When we have acronyms that we use, because in education we use these acronyms all the time, and you're
right,
like,
okay, wait, what?
Time out. What is that? What are you saying? You know, when you say IEP, what does that mean? Or
right.
When you EL, what do you mean? Or ELD, what do you mean? So those are good questions, and I think your perspective adds a lot of value to this podcast. So together,
yes,
Brenda and I,
we are
two chicks that walked into a podcast. And so you'll hear us say that a lot, probably on every podcast. And there's more to this story,
right?
that will be coming soon about 2 chicks that walk into a podcast. But today we're talking about the My Tech Toolbelt podcast. And so how did it start? So it's a funny story. Brenda and I, in September of 2017, we were on a long 6-hour drive home from the mountains, I think. Right. And we just, with 5 kids between us and, full-time jobs and spouses and, just all the things that we have, we thought, let's do something else.
We need something.
We do not nearly have enough to do, right? And so we decided to start a podcast. We got talking in the car, in all seriousness. We got talking in the car about what we do, each of us individually, and how we should just do this. We should just start a podcast. Brenda said, you should really start a podcast. Right. And I was like, sure, why don't, if you would be my sound engineer and my director and all things podcasty, let's do it. And so with no experience,
no,
0,
less than no experience.
Yeah. What it was negative actually, other than being a listener to podcasts, of which we both were, we decided to start a podcast in September of 2017.
Right.
And so here we are. And this is kind of our first introduction to what our podcast will be.
Right. Because honestly, how hard could this be?
Right. Right? We just put on some headphones. And again, more about 2 chicks walking into a podcast coming soon.
Story.
But we thought, Shannon's got this EdTech experience, right?
Right.
And Brenda's a listener.
Yes.
Long-time listener of podcasts, much, much more than me. And so we just thought, what the heck?
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Our families thought we were totally crazy.
Yes, and they still do.
And they do. And you're right. They totally still think we're crazy. So that was really how this podcast, the My Tech Toolbelt podcast, was born.
Right.
Our goal, we thought a lot about really what was our mission. What did we want to accomplish with this podcast? And so our goal really was to highlight teachers and administrators who were innovative, engaging, and inspiring. And we talked a lot about that. We brainstormed and we thought about, wouldn't it be exciting for us to highlight these teachers and administrators who were using technology in new and unique ways that was an innovative way, maybe the way it was anticipated or maybe not, maybe in a whole new way, right? And then they were engaging their kids. Like their kids were super excited about using this technology or this tool that they're using in their classroom or in their school. And then this teacher or administrator was also inspiring others around them. Those were the kind of the three pillars that we're focused on here at this podcast.
Because like many times, all we generally hear from, especially, the conferences that maybe we've gone to or
test scores,
right?
It's always about test scores.
Or you hear from the same people all the time.
All the time.
Right?
You go to conferences.
Yeah. And it's many times it's theory, big picture, big scope. This is what you can possibly do. But we wanted real world experiences. Show me the money. I just want
show me the lesson.
That's right.
Show me, and as an educator, I really value that. Right. So I go to these conferences. I've dragged you along with me on a couple of these conferences. Before starting this podcast, we were doing our research, and one of the things we noticed was there's two kinds of people, two kinds of teachers. Ones that talk in theory, and then ones that actually show us and let us play with the stuff. Right. And so we wanted to be the podcast that not only interviews the person and has them tell us all about the cool things that they're doing, right? But then shows us the cool things that they're doing, right? And so we had this brilliant idea. I had this somewhat idea, and Brenda thought I was kind of crazy because I was like, let's do like a YouTube channel. And she's like, this is a podcast, Shannon. Like there's no YouTube that goes along with it. But we decided that was something we'd try.
Right.
So we also have a YouTube channel.
Correct.
That after we interview someone, we want to get video of them showing us how this looks in their classroom. Right. So with the kids, hopefully engaging. And so that's been successful so far.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then, the other piece of it is, as an educator, I need the lesson plan.
Absolutely.
I teach teachers, right, at the university, and oftentimes they want to do with each other is share lesson plans, right? This year I had a lot of math and science teachers, and they all kind of taught middle school or high school, and so they were just sharing lesson plans back and forth of their assignments with each other. They want that, and so we've asked our guests to provide us with a lesson plan with an assessment rubric as well, and so far that's been something we have. So as each podcast launched, if there is a supplemental video, it'll be on the website,
right,
and on our YouTube channel, and whether there's a video or not, there will be a lesson plan with an assessment rubric for that they're sharing. And so these teachers are not only getting highlighted, they're not only talking about whatever the tool is, the tech tool that they're using in their classroom or their school, but they're sharing lesson plans with you. They're sharing rubrics with you, the listeners. And hopefully there would be a video component that we can see. You can see what's happening in their classroom, the engagement and the excitement of their students as they're doing that. And we think that's really important because, as you've said before, they're not often recognized.
Right. And even though you may have these exact same tools in your classroom that you're using, they may come up with new ideas that maybe you hadn't thought of, or a different way of using these same tools that I think would be great to be able to highlight. And I think that these teachers, we want to give them a platform, right, to be recognized by not just their school or their parents and their students, but by others, because there's so many great teachers out there that are doing things, but nobody really knows what they're doing.
No, and they don't have a voice outside of their own little room, right? Or maybe outside of their own school, or maybe they're just doing local, sessions or coffee queues or things like that, or maybe they're doing ed camps or things like that. But they're not. This is a national platform, maybe even an international to English-speaking countries, because you and I don't speak any other languages. But this podcast could really just, shoot them out there and just really give them some recognition and some kudos, a pat on the back, right?
Exactly.
So we want to give them that opportunity to share what they're doing and how they're doing it and why they're doing it. The questions that I will ask kind of as an educator, you ask really good questions as like a non-educator, right? Like, why are you doing this? Or what does this mean? And those kinds of things. Like those are the questions that are excellent questions, right? That a parent would ask at a conference. Like, why are you using this particular tool, and how is it showing you information on my student? But some of the questions that we also want to ask about these tools is, how are they showing student growth and achievement? This is about student learning, right? This is about student success. These tools should not be shiny objects. Right. They shouldn't be, it shouldn't be tech for tech's sake. They should be using these tools to see student engagement and see student growth and assess student data and make decisions on their teaching based on that data that they're getting out of these tools, and moving every kid along that learning spectrum that they need to go on. And it's all about student success and student learning. Right. And that, for me, that's I'm preaching to probably the choir to all these educators listening to this podcast,
but I've also heard of teachers just using tech to keep them busy. Right. And we don't want it. No. We don't want that.
We don't even want those people on our podcast.
No.
You can listen to our podcast, but we really want. Yeah, I mean, it's about student learning. In what we do, that's what we're inspired by, and that's what gets us excited. Sharing their rubrics, sharing their lessons, sharing the technology that they're using will hopefully inspire others. Yeah. So what else, Brenda? What else? Why else are we doing this?
Well, like I said, we just want to highlight the teachers and give them a platform that they may not have otherwise had, and just recognize them for the great things that they're doing that maybe only their students even know about. So I think that is definitely one of the things, and again, to inspire teachers to maybe think about using it in a new and different way, these tech tools that they may already have or new ones that they don't even know exists. And it's amazing what we've already learned by the couple of interviews that we've already done. Yeah. It's just amazing what's out there.
I can tell you that I've already noodled and flipped and puzzled. Exactly. So yes, there's lots of stuff that we use, that I use as an educator, even in higher ed. Right. It's so fun. And I'm constantly learning from my students, and I'm learning even more from the people we're interviewing.
Well, and even me, being in the private sector, there's been shortcuts and things that I've learned in Google, and things that I've already learned by listening to different podcasts and thinking, well, this isn't just for teachers. Right. This is for us everyday Joes too, right?
Right. Those who use Google.
Right.
Well, it's really Command C, Command V, Brenda, and I'm glad I showed you that.
Thanks.
But really, we want to recognize these teachers. We want to applaud them. We want to congratulate them, and we want to showcase them. Right. And that's what this podcast hopes to do. And
the ultimate goal.
Yeah, inspire others. And so we want to get the word out. This podcast is that, telling you what this is about, and getting the word out. So, maybe you're listening to this podcast and you haven't turned us off yet. Hopefully you haven't turned us off yet. And so you're thinking, I know a teacher like that. My kid's teacher is that, or I work with a teacher is amazing.
Or he's doing amazing things.
Exactly.
Or maybe you're a teacher that does this already in your classroom, and you think, I could do that. I could show them a couple of things.
I am pretty amazing. I could show some things.
Absolutely.
And maybe you're just humble, or you're shy. Right. We'll break you out of that shell.
Absolutely.
Because we're friendly like that. And we're pretty fun to hang around with. And we want to, and we'll help you showcase that. We'll help you talk about those things. Right. And so if you know one of those people, right, or you are one of those people, right, you should get in touch with us, because we want to interview you for our podcast.
Definitely.
Yeah, we want people to interview. We want the people who are doing amazing things in the small towns or in the big towns.
Right. Doesn't matter.
But what are you doing, and tell us what you're doing,
and we want to know. We want to hear from everyone. Big schools, little schools, rural schools, homeschoolers. Yeah. I definitely want to hear about what you're doing in homeschools, because I think that's a really great population. Right. That the educators don't talk about. Right. Right. Public school, private school,
charter.
Yep.
You name it.
Right.
We are school agnostic. We don't have any. We are inclusive.
Absolutely.
Everyone's welcome.
Yep.
To the My Tech Toolbelt podcast.
Absolutely.
So how would they get in touch with us? if they want to get in touch with us because they've listened this far, we've rambled on. We've got ways.
That's right.
Yeah.
We've got many ways.
Many ways.
So one of them, obviously the biggest one, is our website.
Our website,
right?
yeah.
So that is mytechtoolbelt.com.
.com. Okay.
And then
we're also on social media.
Right.
Because we're big tweeters.
Yes.
I'm a big tweeter.
I'm starting to become a big tweeter.
I'm a tweeter.
Yes.
My Tabaldo on Tech, I tweet daily.
Right.
But My Tech Toolbelt is also in social media.
Correct. So we are on Facebook.
We're
everywhere.
Again.
So Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
The IG.
That's right,
Okay.
which I love Instagram.
You are an Instagrammer.
I am.
I'm a Twitterati, and
Yes,
you are an Instagrammer. So,
yes,
so we balance each other out. So where are we?
You can find us at those places at My Tech Toolbelt.
Of course.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yes.
My Tech Toolbelt and mytechtoolbelt.com.
Right.
Check our website. There'll be a countdown there, right?
Yep.
Okay, countdown timer on our website. And subscribe to us when we come out.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
We're not going to just release one.
No,
because we don't do anything like that. Like
No.
It's not just one. Like we're going big.
we're all in.
So we will release multiple podcasts on our launch day.
Right.
So that you'll have multiple things to listen to while we're
Day one.
Yeah, because we're going to get you hooked.
Right.
Yeah, we want to generate excitement. None of this like one
and
and then you
done.
wait. No, and then there'll be regular release dates
Right.
after that. And so so download us, subscribe to us, subscribe to our website, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We just want to ask you one really important question. If you're an educator or you're an administrator, we just really have one thing to ask you, and that's
What's in your Tech Tool Belt? And we're out.
We're out.